Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Healing Circle for the week beginning the 16th of October, 2023. I'm excited to get underway this week, and this morning, as I was in the shower, I've got a 3-card reveal again today, but we will talk more based on the themes that come up and how that could possibly impact you this week, or if this is healing something that you went through last week. And as always, the sessions will be backed up by the body sessions that I will record separately to this and then put them into the playlist that I have put on SoundCloud as part of your membership. So let's shuffle the cards and set the intention for us to be shown what needs to be brought to the surface and swept away today. So we'll have card 1, card 2, and card 3. Alrighty, so let's begin with the opening the energy with the intention. In God's light, I request that all known and unknown negative images, unhealthy beliefs, destructive cellular memories, and all physical issues associated to the people-pleaser healer community be found open and healed. I ask the information to be provided in a clear and concise manner that's easy to understand, and I'm specifically shown everything that needs to be brought to the surface and swept away to allow the group to release on all physical, emotional, spiritual, and etheric levels anything and everything associated to the emotions that are going to reveal themselves in this reading. Thank you for elevating our frequency to support the resonance to transform and create a positive future for ourselves, where confidence, clarity, and conviction in our authentic selves comes naturally to us. Thank you for showing me everything associated to this blockage and sending it to another realm that will never find its way back into our lived experience. And thank you for making today's session 100 times stronger than normal. Okay, so let's go and have a look at our first card. Shame. Okay, that's a big one. Shame is a really large part of a people pleaser's journey. And before I go and read what the information is as part of the deck, one of the things that I had a massive aha about the other day with shame is actually from a people pleaser's journey, when you look at it from the perspective of we are taught shame for having needs as a child, being ashamed of ourselves for speaking up and upsetting people with our truth, all of those kind of things. And then later on, as you start to people please and perhaps you abandon your value system, you 100% can go into a shame response afterwards, which is like also remorse. If we ... and I'll laugh, not laugh, if either of those next 2 cards have remorse in them. But it's associated to going over what essentially the mistakes that we made. So the message with shame is your worth isn't tied to mistakes. Release shame and embrace growth. The guidance for this card is essentially that it's a reminder that everyone makes mistakes, but these errors do not define your worth. It encourages you to release the heavy burden of shame and to embrace the opportunity for personal growth and development that comes from these experiences. Know and understand you make choices sometimes because in that moment it was all you were capable of. Be kind to yourself and know that what ended up being a mistake turns into a never again will I moment. Now, hopefully the vibration of my voice goes into your body and searches out those pockets of shame where you may have been hard on yourself. One of the biggest things that we need to heal in our people-pleasing journey is to understand the concept that if we're sitting there and, if you're working with somebody, especially around law of attraction stuff and or where is the gift kind of mentality, a lot of people will sit there, and even we disclaimer the other people in our life with they did the best with what they could. And we're the same. In any moment, and especially when you're dealing with trauma, anytime you make a decision, you did the best you could with what you had in that moment. And if from a trauma perspective, if you're trying to regain safety and you're making decisions associated to what is going to help me be safe, and safe has a myriad of definitions based on your personal story. So what I would like to suggest with this card coming up first today, because pockets of shame get stored in your life, and when we need to change the subject in a moment now, or they may come up in waves. You know, I've had that experience myself. I want to say about a month ago, I had this memory of this decision I made when I was in my early 20s, and the visceral effect that I had in my body, that pure, like, it made me shiver and feel sick in the stomach at recalling the memory of what I said in a moment when I felt safe in something and actually I wasn't. And then I suffered a loss because of that. I'd allowed myself to be me completely. And then within 2 or 3 days, I lost a relationship that was really important to me. And, 20 odd years later, have that visceral effect of, God, I'm such an idiot. And I could only in that moment, even though I still had that physical reaction, sit there and think to myself, okay, so is that moment releasing? Because as I'm talking about it now, I don't have that same response. So when you hear this card today, and if you want to do your mind mapping and any journaling associated to this, as soon as I started to speak about shame, what came up for you? Okay. The shadow element of this card about other people in your life, that's where I want you to go. Who are the people that taught you to be ashamed of yourself? And go and have a look at their shame story. Go and have a look and see how much shame they lived with or should have been living with, but utilised the sense of power that they gained from making you the focus to distract everybody away from the things that, in air quotes, they should have been ashamed of. Okay, worry is the next card. So just before we go, I actually want to go and have a look and see what part of the body. I did the work the other day to find out where in the body each of these cards comes from. And shame is actually, there you go, shame is housed in the left breast. So I'll be doing the recording for that later on today. Okay, the next card is worry. And this one, not all conflicts are catastrophic. See them as lessons, not threats. So again, the message here and it's fear of conflict, right? Sorry, I just realised too, the shame card is guilt and obligation. So when you're looking at worry as part of this process, it comes as a comforting reminder that not every conflict will end in disaster. That's what this message is for you today. It's natural to fear disagreement because your nervous system is reminding you of unsafe times that usually lead to a loss for you. Allowing your worry to end its loop where there is an outcome to answer the worry, not to be left open to speculation and assumption. You might be pleasantly surprised. So the message here for this week is to tap into anything that you might be worried about. And this can connect into so many other cards in in this pack and then in the story of people pleasing. Often when we sit there and we run scenarios in our head, we're pulling those scenarios from a time before where we have evidence. So the projection game can be big in a worry situation where you're looking at someone and thinking, they might be thinking this, or they might say this, or they might do that, or what will happen if this. So the only way through it is to start to speak your truth. And if you have a lot of evidence in your life where conflict was catastrophic or speaking up ended up leading to loss, this is going to empty some of your cup so that you will have the space to be able to find the right words, to be able to build that strength to step into a situation that you are worried about and have the right words to be able to articulate to this person without a massive disclaimer or this situation, and also not getting to that place of, well, who cares what happens? I'm at my full tilt resentment now. You will be able to do it in a measured way that will give everybody the option of knowing your truth and then responding in theirs. And what can happen, and this is one of my other cards in this deck, my favorite message is that you cannot get to a resolution or negotiate anything without communicating. So what happens in a people pleaser journey is we get so bogged down in our brain and our fears and our trauma, and it's just about us, even though we're pleasing others. But we forget that we need to be able to speak to let others show up as who they are and negotiate an outcome as much as we want to negotiate an outcome. So that's the message for worry this week. Again, journaling and getting it out of your head. Make sure you speak your fears and worries, because often if they're rattling around in your body without physically being heard, it sounds like the truth inside, but when you physically and actually say it and your outside ears hear it, it can be completely different. So the shadow aspect of worry is that people often manipulate worriers, and there is a fear of losing control because, as from a point of view of worrying, the worrier steps around people. It's, not wanting to upset, wanting to avoid conflict, wanting to make sure this other person doesn't feel victimized or anything like that. But again, it's not telling you the truth. Okay, if the person you're communicating with or a situation you're in involves other people, we need to change the energy to see whether they're interested in your well-being as much as you are in theirs, because that's where we're moving to. Equal and opposite energy exchanges. Okay. And the final card is another fear of conflict. So that's your overall message this week. There's a little bit of guilt and obligation to others, and then jumping into fear of conflict and avoiding conflict as part of your journey. Now, whether that was last week or this week, it doesn't matter. It's how it resonates for you now. So the wisdom that comes with avoidance is confrontation is an opportunity for clarity. Embrace it, don't invade it. Evade it. So this is the card that I was referring to that I like from, and the same thing, actually the next one as well, silence. So obviously the fear of conflict part of this deck is my favorite. All right, so the guidance with fear of conflict, avoidance. When you draw the avoidance card, this is a gentle nudge to step courageously into situations you might usually shy away from. You can't achieve peace without communication. Your nervous system has been corrupted to believe communicating your needs is dangerous. Remember, addressing a conflict doesn't mean escalating it. Approach it with calm and peaceful demeanour. It's a chance to bring clarity and perhaps a deeper connection with others. Now, what I want to share with this as a people pleaser myself who has evolved away from the behaviours, and why I'm doing this work, because I've been able to put together a toolkit that really does help for you to be able to stay present in a situation. Now, fear of conflict, and if you have a high level of trauma in your life where you are, paralysed with fear and avoid conflict at all costs, one of the things that happens as a coping mechanism is your ears don't hear things. It's a dissociation. And when you dissociate from a situation, you're not physically present anymore. Physically you're present, emotionally you're not. And your brain takes you to a place of being safe. Now, last night here at home, we had a situation that we were just chatting about stuff, and I get to go to a function on Wednesday because I avoided that function for a few years because there was a person there that didn't like me. And to be the better person and to know that it wasn't such a big sacrifice for me not to go, I just said, oh, that's all right, I won't go. But that person's not here anymore. So last night, when I say here, they're not part of my life anymore. And it was an extended person. It wasn't a choice that I made. It was somebody else in my extended circles. And I allowed myself to be excited about being able to attend because this person was no longer there. And my husband, my lovey, my person I will grow old with, my best friend, took exception to what I said because he has stuff with people in his work team with the same attitude, but they're toxic. Mine was just a statement about how good it was that I could finally attend because I didn't have to be the better person anymore. And he took exception, and then my youngest son come out and stood up for me. And this was all very jovial, right? Because they also gang up on me and tease me and stuff. It's not negative or toxic. It's just, something we do in our family. And when my youngest came and stood up for me with what I was saying, which I was celebrating as well and mucking around, and gave him a cuddle, and I said, oh, finally you're sticking up for me. And my husband got snaky. And he said to our son, you can go over there, or you can go and eat dinner with your fucking mother, and blah, blah, blah. And I just looked at him and I said, excuse me? With this tone. I said, fucking mother? I said, well, that's a significant withdrawal of love because you need to be right. And the look on his face when he realised what he said, there was no conflict. But I heard what he said. I knew his backstory, but I still stood up for myself. And then I turned to Chris and I said, well, there's a new T-shirt. I'm going to go and make out that I'm the fucking mother. And my son laughed. My husband went back to cooking dinner because he's an incredible man and it was his turn to cook dinner and he does a great job. And then as I'm walking off, I said, don't ever say that like that again. I'm a protected species in this house, and went out to watch TV. And I wasn't wounded. I didn't avoid speaking my truth. I didn't eviscerate him. I didn't humiliate him. I made light. I was able to do a conflict resolution with someone who wanted to escalate because they were stuck in their story with their work team, and came away, and within 2 minutes he came out and apologised and said he shouldn't have said it, and and then owned where he was stressed at work. And that's what I want to showcase for you, that when you clear the trauma, when you know yourself, when you know your values, when you can stay in your lane without allowing the trauma to take you off path, you can handle anything and go about your day. These situations become pockets of time rather than stories that drive you down the river. Okay? Okay, so that is the reading for this week. I've just had a small burp, which means that this energy combined for this week is robbing you of your freedom. And I invite you to truly make sure that you listen to the body healings that come with this work. But what I'll do now is a visualization, because that's the ending of the reading. But now let's do a visualization to ask the pockets of these issues to come out of ourselves and remove themselves from our individual energy bodies. Okay, so just give yourself the space to be able to sit quietly. Feel your bottom on the seat or your feet flat on the floor, or if you're lying down asleep, or in bed rather, and you fall asleep, that's okay. Just become fully present in your body. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose slowly. And I want you to relax your shoulders and calmly rest in your body. Now I'd like you to ask your energy body, your physical body, your spiritual body to activate the cells that are housing the emotions of shame, worry, and the behavior of avoidance. I want those three things to activate and show themselves in some form that is personal to you, and ask them to exit the body. Look for any hooks and unhitch those hooks, and ask for anything that is masked or hidden to be shown and unlatched and removed. Send all that energy to a spot in what you're seeing in your mind's eye, and ask it to clump together in a shape or a ball or whatever clump it wants to make. Notice the colours, the size, anything around it, if it has junk in it or additions. Scan your energy to make sure there is nothing residual. And then I want you to open a portal to some point in your vision. Notice where that portal has opened. And I want you to ask that energy, don't touch it, I want you to ask that energy in its entirety to go into that portal and allow that portal to close. And so it is. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.